Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Magic and Miracles, where you learn how to be the magician of your life. My name is Anna, and I'm your most favorite manifestation coach under the sun. Reason why there is no such coaching program like my coaching program, and nobody spends as much time with and on their clients like I do. All the information from me is below. I coach in Zoom sessions as well as phone sessions, whichever one you prefer, or both, a mixture of both. But essentially, I do recommend 2 to 3 months in coaching with me on average. That's what it takes in order for me to be able to cover my coaching program and for you to experience a profound shift in your life. Now, it depends on your history and how much we have to cover. It might take you 2 months sometimes is enough. It might take you longer. I don't know your story. You know your story. So you be the judge of how much work needs to be done. However, I do offer an hour. Okay, you can hire me for an hour in order to converse with me about what you want to work on in your coaching, and I can apply that hour towards the monthly package. And in that hour, we can discuss what we need to work on, etc., etc. But definitely within the first month, provided you show up to work and take my suggestions to heart, you can definitely start experiencing changes. Okay, so that's what's important. Do subscribe to my monthly audios. I no longer create educational content from my channel. I only answer questions, okay, from my mailbox. This is the series, and today you guys get two. I'm inspired to record this because somebody asked me a question that made me really think about this for a second. And this is an amalgamation, essentially, of my own history and the history of my clients. And so the question somebody asked me, and again, this has been asked before, but it's just kind of like all zoomed in my head, and I started, wanted to record this. Why do we attract narcissists? Why do we attract toxic people? Okay, so I'm going to speak from my perspective first, and then I'm going to include some of the kind of like overall observations that I have made in coaching my clients. So from my perspective, from my own history, I definitely know why I attracted narcissists in the past, and it's the story of my life, essentially. And let me just stay with me. This is going to make a lot of sense, okay? Because I don't think people talk about this enough. I think there's a lot of fear around this subject, and there shouldn't be, okay? And I'm going to explain why. So a lot of you know I grew up in a household with a narcissistic mother, okay? And because of this, I struggled with my relationships for a very long time. It seemed like forever, actually, in my 20s. So up until my late 20s, maybe 27, 28, I really struggled in relationships. It was a disaster after disaster, okay? And it was because I did not respect myself. I put up with a lot of crap. And I was gravitating towards people who were narcissists, who were toxic people, who were abusive to me, etc., etc. Okay. And essentially, the story goes that whatever you learn early in childhood, whatever love looks like, you think, or you are taught, you kind of tend to gravitate towards it because it seems familiar. Okay, and I've talked about this already in my lives and in on my channel, etc. Now, the situation then becomes this. Okay, why are narcissists attracted to you in the first place? Okay, and this took me forever to understand. It's all how you handle them, right? Because Truth is, you may encounter a narcissist, whether you had a narcissistic parent or a guardian or whoever affected you early on or not. It's all how you handle it. It may affect you if you don't go through your history and essentially heal that wound and understand what is what in your life, meaning that you're made of gold. Okay, so the reason narcissists are actually attracted to you, narcissists don't get attracted to people who are average. Let me just start with that. They're attracted to people for a reason, because they see in that person something that they don't have and they don't know how to cultivate for themselves, right? So most recent example in my personal life, the copycat. So I'm convinced 100% she's a narcissist, because she feels like taking on somebody else's persona, stealing, all of this is somehow justified in their mind, in her mind, etc. These are all characteristic of a narcissist who's basically there to use you. At first, they come off very charming, this and that, but they ultimately don't know how to do what you do. They don't know how to cultivate it themselves. So their next best thing is to steal it from somebody, to take it from somebody, abuse somebody, etc. This has happened to me many times. And so if this is happening in your life, understand one thing. There is something special about you. There is something extraordinary about you. And this is not an exaggeration, okay? This is literally the truth, because they see a good person in you. They see somebody who is genuine, kind, generous, etc. And they think that this is an invitation to abuse you. Now, I've learned how to handle narcissists very well. I'm a professional at this, because not only do I not let them know that I'm already observing certain situations that give them away, meaning I start noticing things that are narcissistic, and I wait. Okay, I wait until they give themselves away completely. Okay, did I have certain things that were kind of giveaway things in coaching with Tracy? Yes, absolutely. But I wanted to completely wait until the point where either it is not a problem for me or it becomes a problem, and then I utilize my knowledge, okay? So don't feel like essentially there's something wrong that you've attracted a narcissist in your life. It's a compliment, okay? And what you should do, essentially, is deal with it in a very direct manner, okay? Do not feel intimidated. Do not feel like they have anything on you, okay? Do not sidestep your situation, meaning honor yourself and fight for the justice part of it, okay? And as long as the narcissist is out of your life, essentially you've won, okay? But here's the deal, really. A lot of you encounter narcissists for that very reason, because you don't know your worth and they see it before you do. All right. So this is the reason why. And so if you realize that somebody is literally using you, abusing you, getting over on you, the reason they employ the tactics that they employ is because they themselves cannot cultivate this in their life, and they would rather, make you kind of like make you look ridiculous, etc. and shift the blame on you, because they feel so ashamed of their existence. They feel like they lack something. They feel inadequate. And this is why they go out into the world looking for people to steal from. And I want to illustrate, though, how this is an extraordinary compliment, as long as you know how to protect yourself, how to deal with it, right? How to take action in 3D if you must. And in some cases, you do have to. It is that you have to understand the fundamental truth of you, is that you're made of gold. You may not know that you are made of gold. You may not understand that you're made of gold, but they do. They see something they cannot replicate. And even if they do, take something, in quotations, take something from you, they don't understand the simple principle that you are made of gold and you can reproduce this 10 times over. And they will not be able to make, how can I explain this? They will not be able to use what they stole in an effective manner. So not only do they get into these kind of like criminal situations where effectively, they're committing a crime, but it's a very short-sighted technique where they will not be able to produce much from it, but also that you can reproduce it anytime. And I'll give you the story from my childhood, which is when it started, actually. I'm not sure if I gave this example already or if I gave it to one of my clients in my coaching, but essentially when I was in kindergarten, I was a straight A student the whole time, in college, in high school, everywhere. And I was always like the favorite of my teachers, right? And so we had this like tree that was an apple tree in kindergarten's garden, okay? And it was, considered to be like a very special to get an apple from that tree. I don't fucking know why. It was just like green apples, like really tiny ones, and they were really sour. And now that I think about it. But for whatever reason, that was a privilege, okay? It was considered really special to get the fucking apple from that tree. And because it was something special, my teacher, one afternoon while we were like, a recess, kind of like a break from studies, or whatever it is what we're doing, she handed me like a bunch of those. Like everybody got like one or two or something, but I got a bunch, all right, for whatever reason. And I felt like, whatever, I ate one, but then the rest of them went into my pockets, in the pockets of my cardigan. And basically, what ended up happening was that I saved them for later, right? Thinking like, I'm not, I don't want all of them right now, etc. And I went back into the class, and I'm not sure what we were doing, but somehow these other kids, is kind of like these nasty kids, like the troublemakers, they got behind me somehow, and they took the apples out of my fucking pockets, okay? The apples were, like, they were eating them in the corner and laughing, right? And you know what's so funny? I remember that like yesterday, right? And literally I looked at them, and in their eyes, they thought that they got away with something, that they won, in quotations, that they did something that they benefited from, And I just remember looking at them and thinking to myself, at that age, I was like 5 or something, right? And I'm thinking to myself, you poor fucking idiots. I have a whole tree outside, okay? I can ask the teacher to give me like 10 more if I wanted to, all right? You fucking idiots don't understand what's what in life. Like literally, that's what I thought, all right? More or less. That was the idea, the sentiment. And so in this case of like somebody getting over you, somebody stealing your joy, somebody, even the copycat and this and that, like all of these people are gravitating towards the people because they themselves feel inferior to you. They don't know how to do it for themselves. Okay, so they have to then go out and lie and cheat and steal and expose themselves in this manner because you yourself represents a threat to them, right? So there's different reactions to when somebody is shining from the inside, even though you may not be like totally aware of that right now, you're shining from the inside. If you're being abused by a narcissist right now, or you have been abused by a narcissist, understand you're shining so bright, they fucking hate that shit. Okay. And so there are different reactions from different people to somebody who's shining, right? Like this aura just goes out. Like I have many clients that come in off of my channel and they're like, I don't know how, this is literally the story like 9 times out of 10, that I don't know how I stumbled on your channel and you sucked me in. I turned you on and I couldn't stop listening, right? And there was something about you that, you know what, I never even heard of you or whatever, la la la. And here I am like binge watching your channel. And this is the story, like 9 times out of 10, this is the story that I hear. And literally, like some people even tell me, I heard one audio of yours and I decided to make you my coach. Now, why is that? Okay, because there's some kind of like energy about me, because I mean well, I want to help, and it's genuine, and it shows. Okay, now people, again, some people, this is the reaction, they gravitate towards the light and they want to learn more, they want to change their lives, etc. To another person hearing the same exact thing, it may be a threat. Why? Because somebody feels insecure about themselves, right? And so their best idea is to try to take something from you. Meanwhile, they don't understand. Like I said, the metaphor is there's a whole fucking tree outside, okay? And in this metaphor, the tree obviously represents the inexhaustible amount of energy that you have, the ideas, the different ways that you can do certain things, etc., your creativity, your genius, blah, blah, blah. Being the golden Buddha, you're inexhaustible. And the teacher, I guess the metaphor would be for the teacher. I can ask the teacher to give me apples, as many as I want, is your higher self, right? So if you want an idea or whatever, I know this for a fact from my clients in my coaching, where, I guide them to rediscover who they really are. And so if you're dealing with this shit, and if you continue attracting narcissists, it's a compliment. Just deal with it in a proper manner, where recognize something over here doesn't make sense, where you don't have to take on their abuse. You don't have to be defined by their behavior. It's time to take it's time to take measures into your hands and put the fucking narcissist in its place. Now, this is if, you don't want to keep them in your life. I mean, I perfectly do not want to keep any narcissist in my life. If I want to change them, that's a different story. And I have changed a couple of them because just for fun, okay? But if I don't want to keep them, the end, I'm done. I'm just totally like, cut them off and that's it. Be done with them. But I think the reason is very simple. The reason you keep attracting certain kinds of people is 2 reasons, okay? Either you haven't healed yet from your narcissistic wound, okay, the initial one. And what healing really represents is this, is that you understand why it happened, okay? You understand why you went through that abuse initially. And it's just, it just goes on, different stories that I can tell you from my coaching, where literally a mother can be jealous of her child, okay? Or a father can be also, a narcissist, and a parent, and literally using their children as some kind of props, like a show pony, etc. Not really giving love, not really using them as props, using them as like something to brag about, or to really and or really abuse, okay? Because no love is given, no understanding, really highly critical people they are, etc., because they're so dissatisfied. So when you heal from that, you really understand why it really happened, that they're empty inside, okay? And then you're really more equipped, and or another reason could be why you're attracting, and or both, actually. It just depends on which, where you are in your journey. Or it could be that, and or it could be that, you have something they don't. Simple as that. That's why they hate you. And again, coming back around in circle with this audio, they don't pick, regular kind of like average people to abuse. They pick the good ones. They pick the ones that demonstrate threat to them, represent threat to them. That's what it's about. And so when you really download this information, then it's a lot easier to deal with that shit. And it almost is, yeah, it's annoying, yeah, it's this and the other, but you eliminate a lot of I don't know, troubling feelings, if you want to call it that, around this, and you literally see them as some kind of anomaly, okay, that they cannot, and it doesn't really matter how old they are, of course, etc., etc., and you really see them as really damaged, like lacking the light inside. And then it becomes that, you just don't want to stick around this kind of energy for too long, but you don't take it personally. You just say, well, that's where you are in your development, so good luck with that kind of deal. But every time they're talking to you, or if you're still kind of in contact with this kind of person, etc., every time they project something on you or blame you or criticize you, it's them they're talking about. They're talking about themselves. They're literally projecting onto you what they're, really ashamed of themselves. And it has zero to do with you. But all of what I'm telling you, it took me like years to understand this, right? So when I got on the journey, like when I was 28, 29, and I finally left my drug addict ex-boyfriend, who I know was a narcissist. It was just like catastrophic case of a narcissist. I realized that, like, yeah, I definitely have to do something here to heal this wound. And I really worked super fucking hard on this shit. Like, for a year straight, I was diligent in working. I did connect with some coaches. It didn't last for very long because I realized I can do it better, not for nothing, but yeah, that's when I realized, and kind of like self-taught myself through a lot of research, etc., but ended up with a very profound realization that really cured me, okay? And within a year, I started having, diametrically opposed, like, quality of relationships, really. Like, I started attracting high quality men, and for the first time started like really enjoying dating, okay, which was really an achievement for me. I learned my worth through all of this, etc., etc. And when I kind of like was nudged to discuss SPs and all this kind of stuff on my channel, a lot of people are coming off of these channels that are very frightening, like I said, about narcissists. It isn't frightening at all if you know who you are. If you know your worth, if you know your gold, if you know that, you might not think you are, but you are. It's a compliment. You might think that, oh yeah, everybody has this talent, everybody has this ability. No. Mm-mm. And it literally teaches you, these encounters with these kinds of people literally teaches you how fucking valuable you are. And again, the idea is that, is it going to continue happening? Yeah, you might run into a narcissist or two every now and again, but the idea is how you handle it. And the giveaway behavior, okay, is, and they're all on a spectrum, by the way. Some of them are less crazy than others, but, it's all kind of like a little too overly obsessed with you. And I don't care what you say, you can change a narcissist if you want to, but it might seem like the narcissist hurt you because you're not valuable or whatever, but actually you're super fucking valuable, and their only resort to make themselves feel better in any kind of relationship with you is by making you feel like you're less. Then they feel like, you're on the same level with them. But don't let that happen, okay? If you have your boundaries in check, and if you, the giveaway behavior, again, I got on this train and I got sidetracked, is them kind of like mirroring you too much. That's one of the techniques. All of a sudden they're into the same things. All of a sudden they have the same phrases and all this kind of stuff. One of the giveaway phrases is, I want to be just like you. That kind of scares me. I've encountered that a couple of times in my coaching. Okay, one of them was Tracy. I want to be just like you. Why do you want to be just like me? That's scary to me. Or too much admiration right off the bat. That's another one. Way too much, like way too much. I understand, like, I admire your work, blah blah blah, but way too much admiration, like, that's the giveaway, factor. It will inevitably turn into some kind of, like, situation there. It in psychology, it's called love bombing. But essentially, these are the reasons why either you are not healed yet, and or you represent a threat in the form of being a golden Buddha. So know that you're a fucking golden Buddha and be proud of that shit. Okay, it's not scary. They're not, demons. They're just completely broken and devoid of light. And if they only could understand, and I know of people in my coaching who have changed their narcissists, etc., etc. So it's not like a hopeless situation. However, understand the premise where they're coming from. And it really damaged people that kind of like are trying to grasp, for dear life, onto somebody who's got something that they see, as very valuable. And usually they're very upset when they can't control you and they can't undermine your talents, etc. So it's a big, huge compliment is what it really comes down to. So if you want to learn about bringing back SPs, creating money, manipulating energy, magic spells, etc., for a very in-depth conversation on these topics, I definitely advise you to subscribe to my audios, my monthly audios. I'm about to record something new for that, and you will get an audio every other day. You also, what I'm starting to do, which is why I will increase the price, and so hop on while you can. I will offer suggestions. I already am offering it, but on a group level. So in other words, if somebody suggests an audio, I will record it for everybody, right? Because it's kind of like a subscription. But I will introduce the option of requesting an audio individually, okay? But for that, I will have to increase the price. So this is something that's in the works. So while you still can, hop on the wagon. You will learn a tremendous much. I get to record longer audios there and really dive into topics that will really, like, blow your mind for not for nothing, but really blow your mind and will really educate you. And this is kind of entry-level coaching with me, and this is why it's a subscription. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time. Ciao, ciao.